Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to PSGL. We are here tonight for season 32, which is round number 2 of the championship. And as you can see, I haven't brushed my hair. And as you can see, also, we are here for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it is going to be a very interesting night's worth of action, given the action that we had, of course, in Spain. My name is James Head. As you can tell, England supporter through and through. I'm going to be taking to the stream as your lead commentator for tonight. Not at all no in the commentary box. Joining me in the commentary box, not on camera because he's a little bit unwell and under the weather. It is Mr. Evan Dalton. Evan, how you doing?
Not unwell from England winning. That's not the excuse for this week, but welcome along to Bahrain. We are here around the secure international circuit, which is usually a track that provides very good racing. I've never really seen a bad league race around here. Of course, we had a weird one where we took the short variation in PSGL a couple of seasons ago. It was an interesting one, but yeah, we're here tonight around Bahrain. Should be a good one.
It should be a good one indeed. Hadrick, by the way, already calling me a goat in the comment section, which I think my design choices tonight are very, very much justified, I think, given the 6-2 win against Iran a little bit earlier on. Wales also kicking off, by the way, and good luck to the Welsh team, who are obviously going to be competing in around 3 minutes' time. Steph, though, of course, won in Spain. We weren't here last week, of course. It was the week before in Spain, and it was Steph who took the win. Only 13 years of age, I remember Steph, and he is out on top in the standings, of course, keeping his first position. Dino there in second, coming back to some sort of form as per last season, and Ari's finishing in third. Stefano in fourth, Noah in fifth, Nuth in sixth, Ryman in seventh, Volokong in eighth, Ron in ninth, and Axie rounding off the top 10. And then we had Namsko, Rocker, Devon, Ian, Yusbrand, top 15 in the standings. They haven't picked up any points, obviously. Mitchie, Ferrens, Will Murdoch, who is currently competing, I believe, and practicing for the GT Sport Nation Series, which is ending. So good luck to him in that. Facilo, Feddy, and Dark were the 21 drivers that have so far either DNF'd or did not start the race, of course. Steph, though, won 2 weeks ago, Evan. It was a great win, I've got to say, in Spain, and what was a very good final couple of laps of the race. Dino and Ari second and third. They're going to be hot on their heels, I'm sure, on the back of Steph tonight going into Bahrain.
Yeah, they will be hot on Steph's heels, and there was a lot of the top guys in the championship this season who did get a good result in Spain. There was no real bogey results, I suppose, just by looking at it. No Ryman tonight, and we may not have Ryman for the rest of the season. I did see a message that he's looking to be moved to an 8 o'clock tier, whether he gets a promotion or a demotion. That'll all be decided by the admins, but yeah, good result for Steph, of course, the youngest man in the tier by quite a margin. Still, he's very quick. I would expect him to be up there once again this evening. Same with Dino, Ari, Stefano, and Newt and Volok. Expect them all to be up there this evening because they are really, really fast drivers. Although Bahrain is more, or what I remember, it's more of a strategy sort of race than natural pace. I remember back in 2020, you had everyone qualifying in the mediums, and some random person would take their first and only pole position in a championship. But yeah, we won't. Will we see that tonight? Probably not, because there's new rules, and I'm remembering this as I'm talking. There's the new top 10 qualifying rule, of course, where you don't have to start out the entire you qualify on. So qualifying should be fairly simple order once again. However, I can't really see Steph taking 2 in a row. It's very difficult to take 2 in a row in PSGL. Of course, last season we had Ricky doing it a few times and we had Ray doing it a few times, but their form dropped off. Or, well, Ray, but Ricky's dropped off. I can't see Steph tonight, however, I do expect him to be up there.
Yeah, definitely so. Indeed. Apologies, by the way, if Mr. Evan Dalton was coming through like a little bit of a Dalek there, to be honest. We've got the same issue as we had last week, I think, in speaking to him. Everything, though, is fine. Everything is, though, fine. I can hear him. Hopefully you guys can hear him. It's just a little bit of a nuisance for you guys at home. We'll try and get through it as best as we can. However, I'm sure there is no other alternative because we tried the other headphones and they didn't work, I think, last week, if I'm not mistaken, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, in Spain. Those were the driver's standings. Let's have a look then at the constructor standings. Alpine out on top, due because of Steph's win. Yusbrand, of course, DNF'd in Spain. He took the championship lead on the constructors by himself, albeit, but there is a whole host of pursuers in behind them. McLaren, Aston Martin and Alfa Romeo all tied for second, even though it's say second and third and fourth, they're all tied for second on 12 points. Haas there in fifth on 9 with Volokong and Noah, of course, doing the business there. Red Bull in sixth on 5 with Nuth and Devon. Ferrari in 7th with Ian and Axie there on 1 point. And then Mercedes, AlphaTauri and Williams yet to score any points so far this season. However, though, speaking of this season and speaking of tonight, we're going to get going very soon indeed We'll bring up the track map then in question. 5.4 kilometres to then 3.3 mile. 15 turns, of course, awaiting our drivers out on track. 3 DRS zones, 1 down the start finish straight, 1 up the hill and towards turn number 4, and then 1 down in towards the old GP2 start finish straight, down in towards turn number 11. And this track, of course, has been the scene of some very horrific accidents in the past. Romain Grosjean, of course, in 2020 comes to mind, but still, lap record held around here by Mr. Michael Schumacher from 2004, the first ever race around here in Bahrain. The lap time, I think, is held. Otherwise, it's Pedro de la Rosa. It's one of the two. I know that off the top of my head anyways. But we are about to get going out on track indeed. And Evan, Bahrain, normally one of my favourite tracks to commentate on. Certainly going to be hopefully good in terms of overtaking.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite tracks to commentate on. However, it's probably my least favourite to drive on, so good thing I'm not in the car tonight. I love correcting you, James. So the track record is Pedro de la Rosa since 2005. That's always that really interests me. How he still has that left record is beyond me, but there's going to be no weather, I presume, coming to play here at the clear skies in the Bahrain coast, which is where the Sakir circuit is situated. It's situated on the western edge of Bahrain, and it has an average rainfall of 70 millimeters per year. If you'd like to know a comparison, we can go to the United Kingdom, which is 1,144.6 millimeters per year. So it's safe to say they don't get a lot of it, but more importantly, back to the action, some cars going out on the circuit now.
Yeah, Nuth is one of the first drivers out on track, I believe, that is leaving the pit lane, along with Fasilo, who was the first man out on track. Namsko was just left the session. Hopefully he is able to get back in. But Fasilo, the first man out on track, promised a lot, I've got to say, going into Spain. He was a little bit short of form, I think, in Spain 2 weeks ago. Obviously struggled that day in Spain. This track, I think, Mortar is like him. Mortar's namestay, of course, coming down from PSF1 last season. How do you think Fasilo will get on around here? Because this is a track I know he has done well at in the past. Whether or not he can carry that form, though, that PSF1 form that he had last season, to here in PSF2 remains to be seen.
Yeah, it's a track he likes. I've seen a good few results from Facility. I've never commented around him here personally, but I've certainly watched a lot of races. It was a shaky start in Spain. He's looking to continue the form, which you know he hasn't. He's a good driver, on that Williams, and it's a car and a name that's normally together. He's normally in a Williams whenever I've seen him. Anyways, he's left the Red Bull through in front, so might be looking for a bit of a tow down the main straight. I can see him with a good result this evening. I can see him picking back up to form. I think it was just one of those off starts. Everyone gets them in all sports. Some teams, some drivers have a shaky start. I think Facilio will be back on form this evening.
Yeah, definitely indeed. Namsko's now left the session as well, so I'm not sure if there's a little bit of an issue. I think he actually rejoined the session, then came back in, and then he's left again, so he's obviously having technical issues. Nuth, though, on the run towards the final corner. He is the first man now out on track since he overtook Casilo on the formation on the out lap, as Nuth now comes down in towards the left-hander, or the right-hander, I should say, of turn number 1. Yellow flags in sector 3, ignore them because drivers preparing up for a lap. Nuth now coming through turn number 1, turn the timing tower off on the left-hand side, now coming through turn 2, and then through the right-hander, of course, at turn number 3, open up that second DRS zone, around 190 mile an hour, actually can be carried in towards turn number 4, on the braking point, around 192, I think I had that at, coming through turn number 4 with Nuth, and then in toward the S section of turns 5, 6 and 7, 28.3 in the first sector, exactly where you want to be, I think, on the first lap around here, as he comes to the left-hand of turn 7. Stroll, famously hanging like a cow here in 2021, of course, coming through turn number 8, and then in towards my favourite 2 corners on this track, the difficult double left-hander of turns 9 and 10. Nuth, though, making it look very easy indeed and very simple, even though on the braking zone you're going downhill, so you have to try and not lock up into the corner. As Nuth now comes in toward the left-hander of turn number 11, down the old GB2 pit straight, now coming through the left-hander of 11, then to the right-hander of turn number 12, famously where the Bahrain sprint, of course, went all the way off in the distance down the left-hand side, 106.4 through the middle sector from Nuth, as he now comes to the right-hander of turn number 13, and is looking very, very strong indeed on this lap in the Red Bulls. He now comes down the hill in towards the right-hander of turn number 14, and then through the little kink, of course, at turn 15. Pretty much a lap done here in Bahrain with Nuth on the run toward the line. I'm going to have hanging out about a 28.2, I think, for Nuth across the line. Oh, 28 flat, not too far off. 28 flat there from Nuth. Goes to the top. Fasilo on the attempt behind him in the early stages of qualifying, as now Schumacher goes quickest by 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, not a bad lap there at all by Newt or Facilio. It's beaten by Schumacher and Stefano. Schumacher very quick around this Bahrain circuit. And that's not Michael we're on about, of course. It is the Schumacher in the Aston Martin improvement for Axa and Devon. Devon goes to 6th, bottom of the order so far, but he certainly won't be bottom of the order with that time. Interesting, Steph has gone for the mediums for his banker lap here. It's an interesting choice, as that's Ian gone to 3rd.
Yep, Ian has indeed gone to 3rd. There is the tyres that everyone is on. Steph, as you say, he's on that set of medium compound tyre. He's around about 2 seconds off, I think, on this lap. I think he might have actually backed off coming through the right-hander of 14. But Schumacher now out on top. Mitchie there in 2nd. Good qualifying session from him so far. Stefano there in 3rd. Steph on the run toward the line. 28.9. Ignore that lap. Mitchie has left the session as well, just after completing that lap. Luckily, he wasn't coming through the final corner and then just disconnected. Seems like some of the drivers are having a few connection issues, though, tonight. Schumacher, although out on top. Mitchie in 2nd. Noah puts himself up into 3rd. Volakongan is coming through the middle sector, his teammate, on that set of soft compound tyre, as he now comes to the right-hand with turn number 12. Famously won a race around here in TML F1, which I covered, so I know he's got form around here. 106.4 through the middle sector, and not looking too bad, actually. Comparison with Nuth, he's around about a 10th up at this stage, so Volakongan now coming down in towards the right-hander at turn 14, and then through the little kink, of course, at turn 15, which is basically a double right-hander. Volakongan just about taking too much track limit there, but he was just fine within the limits. Goes to the line, 28.1, yeah, it was about a 10th off Nuth in the end. Schumacher, though, Mitchie and Noah currently in the top 3.
Yeah, it was an interesting lap there from Volakongan. He did a 28.4 in the first sector as Ferrance goes to 14th. He's almost a second of drift, so I wouldn't take that to be a serious lap. There's definitely more time in that one. But Volakongan, yeah, interesting. It was a good lap so far, although I think he just made a little bit of a mistake, especially running wide through the final couple of corners, or the final corner and the little kink that's there. I think the only driver that's ever been affected by that little kink was Alexander Albon. I remember he had a bit of a crash in practice. Oh, and who can forget Jack Aiken as well, and that crazy short circuit Bahrain race. That was one not to be forgotten. But so far, it's pretty close in the field, although the top 2 of Schumacher and Mitchie kind of separating themselves a little bit. It's interesting here because Bahrain is usually one that kind of has a bit of a field spread.
Yeah, definitely. So Ari's just catching on with the end of his lap there. 2nd run on that set of soft compound tyres. He backed off, I think, his first to try and get a 2nd run. 28.2 behind Ron by around 25 hundredths of a second. So about a quarter of a second. Quarter of a second? No, quarter of a tenth, I should say, off Ron's time. As Sapala now coming to the line, he's not on a valid lap at all. I think he's preparing to go for another run. It seems he's down in 17th. Of course, form in SRC and famously as well in EML recently. So Sapala, now part of the Scuderia Russell team, of course they renamed themselves from LFR. Sapala looking to try and do a good job. The Finn, of course, out on track tonight. But Schumacher out on top, Mitchie in 2nd, Noah in 3rd, Stefano in 4th. Nuth interestingly along with Schumacher also out on outlaps at this stage. And they're coming just out of the pit lane. I think Sapala now comes around the right-hander of turn number 5 in towards the section of the track. 28.4 in the first sector. So already 2 tenths up. As soon as I say that, he spins through turn 5.
Yeah, spin through turn number 5. Nams goes on a decent run here. Going to see what the second sector split. Oh, it's a 105.9. That's a good second sector split time for Namsco in the Mercedes, of course. He's a very quick driver around Bahrain. I remember I have fond memories of him back in PSGL F5. Brilliant last lap move in that crazy Bahrain short race. On Mr. Pop XL, but here he comes to the line. We'll see what Damsco can do. This will be near the top, I reckon. Is it going to be pole position? Absolutely is. It's a very small margin between himself and Schumacher, but he is on the right side of it.
He is on the right side of it indeed, and it's around about 23 hundredths of a second between Namsco and Schumacher to the top. Schumacher, by the way, is just about to start up on a lap that the graphic on the left-hand side thought, and confirmed to me that he was starting on the lap. He's not. He's coming through the final couple of corners now. We've just got that idiotic glitch, I may say, that we have in terms of the timing tower going off from an outlap, basically coming through the second sector split, which is weird. Schumacher, though, on a run down towards turn number 1, the Aston Martin looking to try and consolidate his 27.710 that he has set so far. We're running ball with him through the first half of that. The Aston Martin, his teammate, just getting out of the way. I think Dino coming to the final sector. He's just backing off his lap. I think the Schumacher now comes up the hill through turn number 3 in towards the right-hander now of turn number 4. It is an uphill run, around about a 10-metre run up the hill in towards turn number 4 here. Schumacher now comes in towards the right-hander of turn number 5, and it's already very quick. 28.1 in the first sector, improving quite considerably on this lap.
Very good first sector. No faults really there. Of course, track evolution will help him a little bit, but that's a very good first sector.
It is a very good first sector indeed, as now Schumacher comes through the left-hand of turn number 10, the double left, I should say, of turns 9 and 10. Then in toward the left-hand of turn number 11, it's Namsko currently out on top, Schumacher in second. This lap time, though, from Namsko looks very beatable indeed, as Schumacher misses the curve there through turn 11, just gets out wide coming in toward the exit of turn number 12. And that just put him offline slightly. It's a 105.9 in the middle sector. He has lost just a little bit of time, though, in that middle sector as he now comes through the right-hand return number 13, and then in towards 14 and 15. Plenty of comments, by the way, coming in, and support for Namsko, Arocco, and Axie, and Louis VLT there in the chat. Famously on course, of course, on pole position at SRC on Tuesday night just gone. A Schumacher on the run toward the line, puts it quicker, 27.5. Good lap from him. Mitchie just starting up on a run as well. Stefano, though, 2.5 tenths up. He's coming through the final couple of corners now. The OP man looking to try and put it up there towards the top 3 as the OP man now comes towards the line. Goes third. He goes ahead of Mitchie, but Mitchie's first sector already looking quick. 28.3 in the first sector for Mitchie.
Yeah, the thing about Schumacher's lap, you said he made a mistake in the second sector. Absolutely. His first lap's middle sector was better, but the other two were much better on the second attempt for the Aston Martin. Mitchie slightly down on his previous best in the first sector. Oh, lock up in towards turn 10. That could cost him a bit of time.
It might cost him a bit of time as it now comes down the old GP2 pit straight down in towards turn 11. As I think that was Axie going into 6th position, around just 1,000th of a second off Noah. Noah there in 5th is also on a run. There is a yellow flag in sector 1. I think that might be one of the Alpha Tauris potentially that has gone off track. It's one of the Aston Martins, in fact. Very difficult with my eyesight, certainly. I'm very close to the screen as Mitchie nearly invalidated. He's 3.5 tenths down. He's certainly going to be backing off this run. I think he's low on field as well. So Mitchie, I don't think, is going to try and set a lap here. Stefano there still in third. Noah is on a lap. He's 1100s down to the first sector, but I think he got caught up maybe in that little bit of traffic that we saw coming through the first sector. There is a spinner, though, and I think that might be, potentially, for Sealer that has spun.
Yeah, I think so. That yellow flag in the first sector was just Stefano pulling out of the way of somebody. He kind of went for a bit of a wander in the runoff. Mitchie completed that lap, despite it being 3 tenths down, and he's gone for another attempt. There's no battery or fuel in that car, so I cannot see an improvement there. However, down the order, still not seeing a proper lap from Steph yet. He still only set the lap on the mediums.
Yep, still on the lap on the mediums. Maybe he's running a little bit out of sync towards everyone else. I know the track evolution around here is pulled in the midpoint of the session. Not many improvements can come towards the end. Noah has just not improved. 27.923, around 1200ths of a second off his lap time. Actually, there, not on the lap. Devon, by the way, went 7th. Good lap time from him, the Red Bull man, 27.9. Ian also just starting up on a run, I think. He's 8th with a 28 flat. Just ran through the middle sectors, not on one. Ferrens has backed off his lap, he improved 6/10 of a second to a 28 flat. There's a lot of drivers though, Evan. Ian all the way down to a rocker. Basically 6 drivers covered by, what's that, 600ths of a second on 28 flats?
Yeah, and Volokongan is going to jump them all pretty much. He's improving by about a 10th of a second in the middle sector. If he can just hook up with this final corner a lot better. Oh, it's still wide again. It's a bit of an unconventional line through there for Volokongan, clearly. And across the line now goes to Haas, and he jumps up to 10th position. But that is just oh so close in the mid-pack. Really, a couple of, or even half a 10th of a second could jump you up about 5 spots almost.
Yeah, definitely so. And Volokongan now joins 7 drivers now within 600ths of a second of each other. Good luck there by Volokongan. He's there in 10th position. Ferrens, as I say, he's backed off. Ron's backed off. Nuth, I think, is just starting on a run, I think, coming through the first sector. The German, 20.38, 400s up coming through the first sector. So the German now coming through the left-hander of turn number 7 into the right-hander now of turn number 8. Schumacher, Namsko, Stefano still out on top. Namsko is through that middle sector. I believe, though, he is not on a lap. Or is he?
Oh, he's down. He's down. He's on a lap, but he's down by about a 10.5 here. I can't see him picking that up through the final couple of corners, but we'll wait to see. Could prove us wrong. It's not been the best of attempts for the Mercedes, and he's going to pull into the pit lane anyway, so it's not a lap completed for Namsko. That's not what he wanted. He wanted to improve and jump back up to the top on his second attempt.
Yeah, definitely still. Steph on the run toward the line as well. Now in a set of soft compounded tyres. He's just preparing actually for a lap. So Steph just going on one at this stage. Forgot who was on board with now. I think it was Nuth who was up in the middle sector. I think I caught that as 0.2 of a second up in the middle sector, as now he comes in toward the right-hand returns 14 and 15. Still more than 4 minutes to go in the session. Schumacher out on top, Namsko in second, Stefano on third. Nuth now on the run toward the line. Clearly feels he's good on this lap, and he is good. He goes second, 27.6, a huge middle sector. He was around 2.5 tenths up, I think, in the middle sector. Increased that margin to around 4 tenths of a second in the final sector. Nuth there in second, going ahead of Namsko, and only a tenth and a half covering the top 3 at this stage, with Steph now on a lap, 2.5 tenths up through the first sector, 28.3.
Yeah, I've been watching it. It was a good first sector, 28.3. Not a bad job. This middle sector's not been too shabby either. Turn 10 looked very nice there, very smooth. We'll see what his second sector split is as he heads down this old GP2 pit lane. This is a crucial corner here because you really want to get the exit for the run up the hill. This corner then up here at turn 12. Not as crucial as it was, of course. It used to be if you touch that curve inside, your car was going around. It's a 106, 107 in the middle sector. It's not quite Schumacher pace, but we'll see what he can do. He'll be up near the top for certain.
Yeah, certainly. I'm going to go maybe around Michi Noah, that sort of area, I think, with this lap. It's looking quick, but it's not looking quick compared to the leaders, I don't think. Steph, though, on the run toward the line, nearly makes me eat my words. 27.661 goes third. Good lap time from him. Nuth, as we say, is just off a lap. We saw his lap there, 27.657. Michi, Facilo, Dino, second position in Spain, all the way down this early stage in qualifying, Evan, in 16th position. So he's got to hope, really, for a bit of a miracle, I think, in this qualifying session. But given how tight the field is, and given that his teammate is currently out on top, Dino really needs to try and think about improving. He has got the pace around here. If you can aim for Michi Noah, I think he'll mark that as a good qualifying session, but it is so tight in the mid-pack.
Yeah, Dino, I wouldn't be too worried at home if you are a Dino fan. He's never been the strongest qualifier in certainly the field of 20 we have here. 16th, not where you want to be when your teammate's on pole position any race, and driver will tell you that. But if Dino could just improve to the top 10, I think he'd still be on for a good result in the race. Race pace is definitely his strongest asset, and he's going to use it, especially around a track like Bahrain, where race pace is quite key.
Yeah, definitely so. And another man that has got good race pace and indeed good qualifying pace as well as Vasilo. He's ahead of him on a lap at this stage. He's just coming through the final couple of corners now, preparing up for this lap. We'll turn the timing tower off on the left-hand side. I don't think there's going to be any improvements, but if there is, we'll try and let you know of who and what are improving. As Vasilo now comes in towards the right-hander of turn number 1, and we see now the Yazoo man coming through turn number 1. Nuth is done. He's out of sync towards everyone. Not going to get another lap time in. He's retired in the pit lane. We can certainly see that as Vasilo now comes out of turn number 3 into the right-hander of turn number 4. And he'll be hoping, I think, to try and improve, obviously, on this lap. He's behind Dino. Around a 28 flat, I think, was his lap, if I'm not mistaken, by the timing tower. Gets caught in the curve out of 4. 28.5 in the first sector. Vasilo was not happy at all with this track, nor with this lap. He's certainly not happy now because it's just invalidated.
Power show in the first sector and a little bit after. That's not what Facilio wants. I think he can get around just for another lap if he just gets around fairly quickly.
Yeah,
it all depends on what field's in that car, though.
Yeah, he'll be fine. I think there's still just less than a minute to go in the session, and he's coming through, what, turn 10, turn 11? He'll be fine. He can back off quite a lot. As Steph has retired, that is in the pit lane as well. So Steph is done. So second and third position are done. Schumacher is on a lap. Dino, though, is 2.5 tenths up out of the first sector, so he's looking quite quick here, Dino. Now in toward the left-hander of turn number 11. We'll keep the timing tower off on the left-hand side, just in case we see any more improvements in the meantime, as Dino now comes through the right-hander of turn number 12. A little bit wide, actually, on the exit of 11. Now coming through 12, he's a tenth and a half up through the middle sector, so just degrading a little bit of time away in that middle sector. So now comes out of 13 on the run down the hill in towards 14 and 15. Everyone, though, as you can see, on the left-hand side, either starting up on a lap or just on a lap at those stages. Dino now comes through the right-hander of 14 and 15 on the run toward the line, aiming to go around Michi Noah sort of area, I think, with this lap. He doesn't. He only goes 15, as Noah has been disqualified for going the wrong way, and that's coming through turn 8, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Just quickly to point out,
oh, yeah, he is.
Very good lap so far from Ference. He's did the 28.2 in the first sector. We'll see what the middle sector split is now. This is not a bad job for the man in 12th. It's a 106.1, so it's not bad. Not a bad job here from Ference. He could jump up the order.
Yeah, not a bad lap at all, certainly from Ference at this stage. Of course, TML F2 champion back in the days. Now Ference comes in toward the right-hander of turn 14 and 15. Schumacher, though, out on top. Newton second, Stefan third. Ference now on the run toward the line. He's going to be one of the first. Yeah, Rocker goes 7th. Good lap time from him. And Ference goes 8th, just in behind him by about 14 hundredths of a second. Axie is invalidated on his lap. Devon, though, is hugely improving. 3/10 of a second up. Goes toward the line. Only goes 7th, but a good improvement. He actually lost a lot of time in that final sector. Stefano's into the pit lane, he has done. Namsco, purple out of everyone now in the middle sector, so we'll see what Namsco can do. Schumacher didn't improve on his lap, so this is up to Namsco now, the one man, and coming down in towards turn 14 and 15. He has got to put this all on the line now, coming through 14, coming through 15. He was purple in the middle sector. Whether or not that's purple at the end of his lap remains to be seen. Namsco on the run to the line, he does. 27.4222 is the improvement from him, 0.2 of a second. Namsco currently out on top. Actually, as I say, he's backed off. Justbrand has backed off as well. And I think Vasila was done. He improved slightly, 28.1. But that is the end of qualifying. And it is Namsco out on top of the 27.465. Schumacher in second with a 27.557. And Nuth in third on a 27.656. Always, the order of the day around here normally is not many improvements at the end of qualifying. We saw a big improvement there from Namsco, and it's the biggest improvement at the lot.
Yeah, it was a big improvement as well from Aries. He went from 18th to 5th on his final run. So he's still good result from Aries there to qualify in the top 5. That's what the McLaren will be looking for. But what a lap from Namsco. He produced a great lap when he needed it.
Yeah, people in the comments, I know Hadrick is going to be very, very pleased, I think, with that qualifying session. Namsco had trouble early on in qualifying. He, though, is out on top from Schumacher there in second. Nuth there in third. Germans following up on Namsco, and only 0.2 of a second covering the top 4, with Steph there also included there in fourth, the race winner, of course, last time out. Aries there in fifth, Stefano in sixth, Michi there in seventh, Devon in there in eighth, the Rocker there in ninth, Ference round off the top 10, Ian in 11th, Axie in 12th, Fetty in 13th, Volakongan in 14th. Just look at how many drivers, Ian and Ference, by the way, same lap time set on their laps. Justbrand there in 15th, Ron, Dino, Fasilo, Sapala, and Noah, who got disqualified from that session. He is down at the back of the field. Not sure if we are going to get a restart potentially. I don't think we are. Noah's going to be starting then at the back of the field. We're going to take a slight intermission break. We are going to be back in just 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone, to PSGL. We are here for Season 32, Round 2 of the Championship, the Bahrain Grand Prix. And we are here tonight, of course, to see who is going to be out on top. Namsco out on top, of course, in qualifying. Evan, what are we looking forward to in the race?
I think we're looking forward to a right-out scrap at the top between Namsco and Schumacher. Those two will be fierce at it. Namsco is certainly on form here. He's on form in other leagues, and he's on form in PSGL, taking pole position. But I think it'll be a good race. I think strategy will be a key part of it, but let's get going.
Let's get going indeed. 5 nights now coming on here in Bahrain. Round number 2 of the championship here in PSGL. And it is lights out and away we go. Namsco gets a very quick start. Schumacher, though, was better for the second phase of the start, and he now pulls alongside in towards turn 1. The Aston Martin will be on the inside line, Mercedes on the outside line, and I think he's going to try and dive it down the inside line. Schumacher might just take the lead here, coming down towards turn 1. He does. Schumacher through and into turn 3 in front. Namsco in second, Steph there in third, Nuth there in fourth, Michi there in fifth. Clean start further back. Devon, I think, got caught up maybe in a slight bit of contact with Ian, and he's dropped around 0.6 of a second off the back as Ian actually goes a little bit too deep, and he's got right side end plate damage, I think, on the car as well. So might be as a result of that contact through turn number 1. But Schumacher leads the way. Namsco second, Stefan third, Aries and Ference going side by side there for a slight moment. Now coming in towards turn 8. This is in the mid pack, and now Justbrand having it down the outside line of Axie. Now in towards turn 8 on the inside line. Now for the outside coming out of turn 9 and gets the job done. And now a Rocker and Dino are having a big old fight in the background as well. Coming in towards turn 10, actually sends it down the inside line of Justbrand, still in the mid pack, forces him off track a little bit. Verstappen-esque line, I think, there from Justran on rejoining track. He's now side by side. He's going to try and come back at him. A rocker there in 12 holds on for now, and Justran doesn't get past Axie, but a great start up the front. Schumacher leads the way. Namsco in second, Stefan third, and it was that second phase of the start as Sapala was around in the background. That second phase of the start is so crucial around 2 in Bahrain. Schumacher got that second phase and got the lead in towards turn 1.
Yeah, so 336 meter run down towards turn number 1. Schumacher got the initial launch better, or apologies, Namsco got the initial launch better, but Schumacher just got the second phase absolutely perfect, and he leads this Bahrain Grand Prix. But DRS and slipstream can be a big one around here, so I do expect Namsco to stick with him, as Volokongan into the pits early here, as well as Ian and Fez.
Yeah, I think Volokongan got caught up in an incident towards turn 1. Certainly somebody dived it down the inside line of the back road. I think it might have been one of the Alpines, maybe Justran, to take a little bit of a guess. He's down there in 11th at the minute. Volokongan, Feddy and Ian, though, all getting caught up in the same incident. I think all getting caught up in bits of contact, all into the pit lane. But certainly front wing change or just a tactical change onto a better compound of tyre. Everyone, though, pretty much, apart from Vasilo on that set of medium compounded tyres, and Vasilo arguably is the one that is struggling further down the field. He's around 0.8 of a second off Ron, off the back currently, and Vasilo has got a bit of a mountain to climb on those mediums, which are going to weather into the race. They will come in probably in the next 2 or 3 laps or so, but he has got a mountain to climb in terms of the cars ahead of him, and also on the tyres, try and even get past, as I think Ron has made a mistake, so maybe one move is going to happen immediately in towards turn number 11, but I don't think he's going to get the job done. Vasilo, interestingly, on a set of mediums. Volokongan and Ian have changed their tyres. They're on a set of mediums. Freddy on a change of tyre. He's on a set of hard compounded tyres now. He did start off, I think, on a set of mediums. As Schumacher still leads the way, Namsco in second. Steph there in third. Devon applying pressure to Michi.
Yeah, Ron is all over the place at the back here. Vasilo is right on his fellow Shizuman's tail. But you got to remember, folks, you do get an extra set of mediums now in the race. You can change your tyre allocation. So an extra set of mediums are available for all the drivers if they chose that option, which could be a crucial element around the track lap where safety cars can happen, and the tyres do not like this circuit very much, as Vasilo is past Ron for 14.
Yep, Vasilo through and he's into 14th, Ron there down into 15th. Quite a simple move that actually is. We get a change for the race lead. Goodness me, where was I looking at that? Namsco leads the way. Schumacher in second. I think Schumacher may have made a mistake coming out at turn number 3. Certainly led to Namsco taking the lead. I can only think of that. They were nowhere near each other coming in towards turn number 1. Of course, the DRS is enabled, but it's only enabled, of course, around in towards turn number 11. So I think Schumacher has made a mistake. Namsco now leads the way. Schumacher in second, Steph there in third. And already, front 4 beginning to pull away. Michi is the one becoming the cork in the bottle, it seems, as Devon really applies pressure to him. And Stefano, in the meantime, is right on the back of Devon as well.
I'm not too sure what happened to Schumacher. He hands down on his PP and good maybe if he had a mistake, but Namsco, he's going to take that. He's in the lead of the race, which is very unfamiliar, very unrecognised mistake from Schumacher. Whatever mistake he made, it didn't cost him too much. He's still right on the Mercedes tail, and there's still the rest developing all down towards P the last time in this train, and Sabata is looking to get back.
Yeah, definitely so indeed. Apologies again if Evans coming across a little bit of a door. Like, it is just intermittent, luckily. But here comes Schumacher, I think, once again on the back of Namsco. He's going to try and look to the inside line. I don't think he's going to be quite close enough, though, down the straight. And he breaks later, actually, than Namsco in towards turn 1. Doesn't get the job done. Devon there in 6th, right on the back of Michi coming through turn 1. He's not quite close enough, actually, on the exit. And Schumacher's not going to hold the lead. Philip Spares, by the way, in the comment section, I did see this a little bit earlier on. Noah got disqualified because he waited for other drivers to be let through after he spun. So Noah spun, let everyone through, and he got disqualified because the game, apparently, according to Philip, is an absolute joke. And if that is the case, I sadly have to agree.
Yeah, well, we're kind of bad because to this game being a bit of a joke, James, and that certainly is one. That's unfortunate for Noah. He's did a good deed, and he's decided, I'm not going to block anyone on my lap, and he has been punished for it, which is very unfortunate. He's in 19th now, not really recovered from this one, unfortunately. But we do hope to see Noah up towards the top 10 towards the end of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, definitely. So we came in for a set of medium compound tyres as well, so obviously want to try something different in this race. Namskull was still leading the way. He looks very quick, I've got to say, tonight. Schumacher there in second. Steph just playing the waiting game at this stage. EOS is quite crucial around here. 70% of EOS for Steph at the moment. Schumacher has got 94%. Namskull's only got 60%. So Schumacher, when needs must, he can try and get the job done maybe down in towards turn number 1. But we're only on lap 4 going on to lap 5, and I don't think this move is going to happen this time around. However, he does look a lot closer than last time. Puts on the EOS now, just open a little bit of EOS there. Runs through on Facila, who was spun. So Facila's spun in the background of shot, but Namskull leads down towards turn 1 still. Schumacher there in second, and hardly any pressure being applied. However, side by side, I think Dino just got the job done on a rocker in towards turn 1.
He did. Good move from Dino on a rocker. There's a yellow flag as well. That's Fede, who's gone round through turn number 12, and well, Williams having a bit of a nightmare through that last sector. There was Facilio who went round as well, and now Facilio is miles off the back of the leading pack. But Namsco holds his lead for another lap. Looks like Schumacher could be holding back a little bit here, which is it's not an unfamiliar thing. We do see drivers do that a lot in terms of strategy, and he will just happily take the DRS and the slipstream down the straights.
Yeah, noticeably, actually, coming through turn number 8, he took a much deeper line. Namskull got the exit on the outside line, basically cutting into the corner. He gained around 0.2 of a second. Interesting, though, Schumacher took a different line through there, so clearly doesn't want to run in the dirty air, clearly doesn't want to run and go for the move yet. And that means we're going to be playing a little bit of cat and mouse, I think, out in front, certainly between the top two. And they are actually beginning to pull away now from Steph. Steph just maybe struggling in terms of his pace. He's certainly on the borderline in terms of his EOS. He's got about 20% less than Schumacher at this stage. Oh, it's Namskull, and very much out wide coming through turn number 13. He gained advantage off track. It's only around a 500th gain, though, so not much, as Namskull now comes through the right-hander of turn number 14 out in front. Schumacher there in second. Not quite close enough, but 97% of EOS he is going to use up until his hard to contend whenever he decides to go. Probably, normally around this track, I would say before the pit stop. So I think before the pit stop will happen, that will go as Justbrand has run on the back of Axie in towards turn 1. The QRT man on the back of the FBR man, not enticed by that battle at all. And the Frenchman still hangs in behind Axie, who's still there in P10, who, I've got to say, FBR have lost one of their main drivers recently. Isma has gone to race split, I think, so congratulations to Isma, to the PSGL PSF2, PC F2 driver who has recently joined race split from FVR. He will be a long miss, I think, but actually doing a good job for Team FVR, and they're still in 10th position with Justbrand right on the borderline on the points, and Dino now beginning to push these two along.
Yeah, drivers like Isma, as you said, well, they only come along once in a lifetime, and the FVR team are certainly going to miss them, but yeah, doing a good job for the FER team as AXA. And Dino down, who you just mentioned, I'm just jumping driver to driver really here. Dino is putting the pressure on Justbrand. Thought we'd see a bit more action from Dino so far in this Grand Prix. He's just betting into it, and we will see some overtakes from him, I imagine, later on in the Grand Prix.
Yeah, definitely. So position changes, by the way, after everything has happened over the first 5 laps, now onto lap 6, obviously. Dino has gained the most positions, 5 positions gained from 17th on the grid up to 12th, so he is on the borderline of the points, as we've been suggesting. Axie and Justbrand only ahead of him to get that 1 point that he might be chasing. Ron has gained 2, Sapolo's also gained 4 along with Justbrand, so they've gained 4 positions. 2 positions gained from Michi. Devon as well has also gained 2, as Schumacher, I think, is going to be close enough for the race lead. Here he comes the inside line in towards turn 1. We finally get on board with the race battle, and just about in time, Schumacher takes the lead from Namskull there in second. Used up the ERS, but look at how much ERS he's still got. 84%, now using a bit up, and this has got one thing in mind, gapping into a second.
Yeah, that's the plan here from Schumacher. He's just going to try gap him, because the pit stops are not for another few laps yet. All these guys are on the hard compound tyres, or all the front runners are on the hard compound tyres anyways. Delio and Eno on the mediums at the back, but they're already practically a pit stop behind because of the incidents on the opening lap. Schumacher not gapping him that successfully, because Namsco is quick through this middle sector. Schumacher certainly the ERS in this great line speed, but Namsco is pretty nippy through this middle sector.
Oh, as Nuth has gone straight on in the background. That was a lock-up, I think, in towards turn number 10. Just caught that in the background. He's lost the position to Michi, and now becomes a real cork in the bottle, because Michi now has to use up his ERS and his tyres to try and catch on to the back of Steph, who is now more than a second clear. So Michi now in trouble, Nuth now in trouble, and potentially the whole field from 4th downwards are in trouble in terms of gapping out the DRS. Michi, that was luckily just got back within a second. DRS detection point is before turn number 14, And I think Mitchie is just going to be inside, so he is lucky enough to not gap to the DRS, as Steph now applies a lot of pressure to Namsco.
Yeah, Mitchie used up a lot of his battery there, however, so that was a big problem. Schumacher's gapping attempt was not successful, however, he does still have a lot of ERS. Is Namsco going to go for the lead here? No, he's a bit far back. Not going to go. Steph is keeping with these two boys, though. Steph's not out of this one just yet.
Yeah, Dino again trying to go for the inside on Justbrand and towards turn number 1. Not quite close enough though. Running in 0.2 of a second down towards turn number 1 there. The Italian now on the back of the Frenchman of the QRT team. Justbrand there in 11th, Dino there in 12th. That might be the next battle that begins to develop out on track. But Schumacher out on top, Tom Namsco in second, Steph in third. Tom and Xander having a very friendly conversation, by the way, in the comment section I can report. I'm looking through it there. And Roman saying, Aroka washed. Aroka's doing a good job. He's there in the 13th, but he's just struggling, I think, for a bit of pace around here at this stage, as Namsco has just made a mistake in towards turn number 8. And now has got Steph, race winner, of course, 2 weeks ago in Spain. We will last with you, of course, for PSF2. Steph there in third. Mitchie there in fourth, and again they're still trying to gap Mitchie to a second, but I don't think that is possible because Namsco's got DRS on Schumacher and Steph has got DRS on himself as well on Namsco. He's still there in third position. Nothing really happening, and I'll just call my phrasing at this point. Normally, we get action better in the second half of the race than the first.
Well, the yellow flag there, just if you call that, it's Vasilio's gone around with it's kind of just a DRS and a waiting phase, really, in the Grand Prix before the pit stops. Usually after the pit stops, the chaos starts to kick off, so hopefully we are proved correct, and the chaos does start to kick off in the second half of the Grand Prix. Aries is on the back of Stefano here. He might go for a move in his McLaren.
Yep, 50% of EOSC is up. He pulls the outside line, and Stefano will defend the inside line. Stefano, normally king of the late breakers, doesn't find that move though. Ari Stooney's into 7. That looked very easy indeed for the McLaren man. And then behind as well, I think actually just went a little bit too deep in towards turn number 1. Justbrand still on the back of him. The Stefano again coming back at him in towards turn number 4 on the back of Aries. Not going to be close enough though from that far back, and Schumacher still leads the way. Namsco in second, Steph there in third. Action are beginning to build nicely, bubbling on the surface, hopefully like the America-Wales match that is going on at this stage. I'm not having a look at the scoreline. I don't want to know. I am an England fan through and through, and at least it's better than Ireland being in the World Cup. I had to go there, didn't I?
No comment. Absolutely 0-0 comment from this side of the commentary box. Steph's running well, however, in the more important topic, as maybe Steph can bring something home for a win, because England certainly won't be. As he's now within 0.5 of a second of Namsco. Namsco just starting to struggle here in this stage of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, Namsco is struggling. I think Schumacher was around 8/10 clear coming through the final couple of corners last time around already at that 8/10 gap. He wants to try and desperately, I think, gap him out for a second at this stage. Namsco there in second, though. Steph there in third. The Dutchies, of course, delighted with their win, of course, against Senegal a little bit earlier on. The Steph is luckily going to try and go and make it 2-0 on the back down and towards turn number 1 on the back of Namsco. He's going to try and make this move. And Namsco in the end pulling away down the straight, and Steph has got no response. But look at the top 3 now. More than a second clear of Mitchie, and I think now, differences aside, they've got to work together at this stage. Gap Mitchie out for a second. It's clear that he doesn't have a lack of pace. That he has a lack of pace here tonight. Newton behind is not really attacking him, so I think deploy that weakness, get him outside of a second, and then these guys can work together and just pull away, and might be looking at our top 3 early on. As that Fasilo has had a moment, I think, coming in the pit lane. No, Fasilo is in the pit lane. I don't know what I was thinking. That in the tyres.
Axis actually ran really wide through turn number 4. He has Justbrand all on the back of him. Axis very much recovered that, but he was all at 8 for turn number 4. It's kind of reminiscent of Sebastian Vettel's spin back. Oh, I cannot remember what year it was. In 2019, he's battling with Lewis Hamilton, but Axis battling with Justbrand. Axis for the time being.
Yeah, definitely so. I have just seen that America, I think, have just taken the lead against Wales, if I'm not mistaken. So that is a little bit of an update on the football. Not looking. Schumacher leads the way. Namsco in second, but looking now the gap. It's pretty much a second. Namsco's got to use up that remaining amount of battery, and he's desperately trying to stay within a second. He has got straight line speed down the straights. Namsco just about within a second there once again. Of course, this is the only track for Mexico that actually shares a DRS point, and that is from turn 14, sharing with the second DRS zone up towards turn number 4. It's the same DRS detection point from them both. Mexico as well is the other DRS detection point, and that is coming through down the straight. turn 1, turn 3, and then down the second DRS straight in towards turn number 4. It's pretty much like this track here. We have 2 different DRS zones. If I'm not right in... I think I'm right in saying that.
You're correct, yeah. I think that's spot on, but one thing that's not looking as correct is Namsko's DRS, only 6%, and he's still 9/10 adrift. This is not looking good for the Mercedes.
Yeah, not looking good for the Mercedes at all. Schumacher still leading the way. Namsko in second, Steph there in third. Kongen has just lost the position to Ian down the straight down towards turn 1. So Ian gets the job done. He's through and he's into 16th position. Both in a set of medium compounded tyres as well. So both could have clearly try and get towards, or as near to, the end of the race. Timothy Whale was the goal scorer, by the way, for the America-Wales game.
Exit side by side.
Yep,
Jospran's got the job done on accident now. It was a late breaking move into turn 10, and he's got the exit. Well done, Jospran. That's a lovely little move.
I didn't see that, to be honest, so I'll just take it on face value. It was a lovely move. He's through, and he's into 10th position. And now look at Axie. Maybe gone too hard too early on these tyres. Dino there in 12th position on the back of Axie at this stage. Now coming to the right hand with turn 13, once again on the run down the hill in towards 14. And then, of course, in towards 15. Hadrick, by the way, keeping us up to date with the score lines in the comment section as well. So I think World Cup fever's hit us all, potentially. Certainly not Schumacher, though. He leads the way by 0.8 of a second. Namsko there in second, Steph there in third. There is big business to do here at this point to try and decide, of course, the points. To try and decide, of course, who is the winner of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Actually on the back of Jospran. And again, Dino very late on the brakes on the back of the Ferrari. Coming through turns 1 and 2, then through the right-hand with turn number 3. Can Dino make anything out of this? I don't think so. But yeah, they're just going to run line astern in towards turn number 4.
Yeah, a bit far back for Dino as that's Ian into the pits now. I'm not sure whether
Tyres.
Well, here we go. That's the end of my sentence. Ian is going to be the second retiree from this Grand Prix. And Ferrari on course to score no points this week in Bahrain. That's unfortunate because in Formula 1 terms, it's historically a good track for the Scuderia. Of course, they finished 1-2 in 2022 here in Formula 1, but absolutely no relation to league racing, that result. Schumacher didn't manage to get out of a second. Namsko has picked up the pace a bit here, and he's back almost within 0.6 of a second of our race leader here at lap number 12.
Yeah, definitely so. And to back up on your point as well, as that yellow flag is for Ian coming out the pit lane, Ferrari also picked up a 1-2 finish in the first ever Grand Prix round here. Schumacher beat Rubens Barrichello in the end by 1.3 seconds, and they were 26 seconds clear of Jenson Button, who finished in third in the Bar Honda. That is taking us back completely into real-life Formula 1. But now back to the present day. Schumacher leads the way. Namsko in second, Steph there in third, Mitchie there in fourth. He's struggling for pace. He's got no ERS as Mitchie. And Newton's got 54%, and he's just sitting there waiting for the move to happen. I think he's got to make the move happen himself rather than let it come to him, because Mitchie is coming back to him. Nuth there in fifth has got considerable amount of ERS. If I was in Nuth's shoes, I'd be going for that move sooner rather than later, because set of hard compounded tyres normally see pit stops, certainly from the F1 guys. I'm sure you're going to be seeing pit stops in from around lap 12, lap 13. Mediums, however, only last around 12 or 13 laps fully in terms of their tyre length. So Nuth has got one eye, I think, on his pit strategy. One eye, though, has got to be on Mitchie and getting that move done, because he just cannot there sit, pull back. Devon's dropping off him as well. I'd go for the move and just try and break him out of a second.
I think he's trying. I think Mitchie genuinely just has very good pace at this point in the Grand Prix. He's catching Steph actually on this lap. Anyways, he has been losing time because of the no DRS and all that comes with that. But Mitchie just has good pace in this one, I think. He does need to get a hurry on, doesn't he? Because he's in a good spot, but he could be in a better one.
Yeah, he could be in a better one indeed. He's there in fifth position at this stage. Namsko on the back of Schumacher still, and has got 16% of ERS. He's actually been lifting and coasting, I think, a little bit down the straight. Schumacher still leads the way, though. Any of the front runners beginning to think about coming into the pit lane? No, the top three certainly don't. Mitchie not, Nuth there in fifth, and everyone, I think, continuing on. However, Ferrens is into the pit lane from ninth position, trying to go for the undercut. Undercut is quite potent around here, so the AlphaTauri into the pit. A rocker also follows him in, so TF Man, as Dino was going to go for the move on Axie in the meantime, so I'll cut myself off. Dino in towards turn number 1, Aston Martin down the inside line. Dino actually just had to correct himself, I think, through turn number 1, and Dino through, and he's into 10th and finally makes that move done. And I think about time, because Ferrens in the pit lane, probably a good indicator for that. That might be a potential free position when Ferrens gets his tyres up to temperature and if they decide to pit in next lap.
Yeah, undercut is quite powerful around here in real life and in the virtual sim racing, of course. A lot of people might remember Lewis Hamilton trying to heat up his tires on an overcut and on you Joe going around his outside in his first ever Formula One race. That's an indication of how difficult it can be to heat the tires here around Bahrain. And of course, tires are much more difficult to heat on F1 2022 than previous editions of Codemasters title. But still, I think the undercut is still the much more powerful pit call. However, whether Ferentz's tyres will be in tip-top shape come the end of the race is another question. Well, we should start to see more drivers in the pit with this lap.
Yeah, definitely so. Luisi fan, by the way, stating the obvious in the comments section, saying, "Hey guys, it's Formula 1 and Football World Cup. We know. Schumacher leads the way. Namsco in second, Steph in third. Namsco's on the back of Schumacher. And Schumacher's in. Schumacher into the pit lane from the lead of the race. I was a late call, luckily within the white line, so nothing about his pit entry there. But he's into the pit lane. Nuth also following him, which is interesting, actually, from Nuth to come into the pit lane. Stefano in, Axie in. Probably the pit stops will happen around here. Schumacher, though, into the pit lane. Set of medium compound tyres will go on. Ferentz is coming through the final corner. He's gone well ahead of Ferentz coming out the pit lane. But Ferentz, compared to Nuth and Stefano, this is going to be quite interesting because Nuth and Stefano are already down at the end of the pit lane. Ferentz is going to have much better tyre wear compared to these guys. And do you know what? I think he could be side by side with Axie coming out the pit lane here. Axie is there. There is Ferentz already heading towards turn 1. So Ferentz is ahead. And he's right on the back of Stefano coming out the pit lane. This is a beautiful call from Ferentz. Now with the warmer tyres, you can already see the difference between colder tyres and warmer tyres. And Stefano tries to shut the door on him, but I don't think it's going to be good enough because Ferentz now down the inside line. Julio late on the brakes. Ferentz doing his into 12. Stefano tried as he must. A little bit over-aggressive, I've got to say, from my perspective. Ferentz there in 12th, Stefano in 13th. And Ferentz has indeed gained one of those positions with that undercut.
Fantastic call by Ferentz. Really, really great call that by Ferentz to get in. He's running low the old ERS front, so he's going to have to keep an eye on that. But Newt getting out in front, crucial for Newt's race, but he is 3.3 seconds behind Schumacher. I think that gap has extended since before they pitted, but we'll wait and see what our race leaders Namsco and Steph do as they're heading towards the pit lane now. I imagine surely they have to cover off that undercut. Yeah, Namsco's in, Steph is in, Mitchie and Devon, and yeah, oh no, Ari stays out, so Ari's trying a gamble.
Yeah, I think that might mean Ron then is going to come in the pit lane and behind. No, Ron stays out as well, so the McLarens are trying something different. Clearly a different strategy call, it seems, by the Shazoo boys. Ari's leading the way. I think they'll probably be both in the same party. But Namsco out of the pit box. It's a beautiful camera angle, Codemasters. Thanks very much for giving us the garage rather than the car. As he now comes down towards turn 1. There is Schumacher on the exit of turn number 1. Or down into turn 1. And he's well ahead of Namsco. He's pretty much got him. I saw I need him a second already. And Namsco out of the pit lane. There's Steph. There is Nuth. Where is Ferentz? Ferentz is behind Devon coming out the pit lane. I think it'll remain that way. It will certainly remain that way now because he has a huge stack of overseer coming out the exit of turn number 1, and that gives Stefano maybe a look in here in towards turn number 4 as Axie and Justran are going side by side in the background as well. So Axie down the inside line of Justran retakes that position. And Stefano doesn't make the move done on Ferentz in the foreground of shots. So Axie there 13th, Justran in 14th. But Nuth on the back of Mitchie, exactly what he would have wanted.
Yeah, exactly what he would have wanted. That's a brilliant call in hindsight by Schumacher. He's miles ahead of Namsco and Steph. So Schumacher is on course to win this one if there's no safety cars or anything. We haven't had any VSCs or safety cars yet, and it doesn't look like we're going to get one. We haven't had any big on-track collisions. Bit of an end plate flying here nor there, but that is all we've had. So fairly clean so far from the F2 boys.
Yeah, Ian, I think, was the only end plate damage that I certainly saw, and that was on lap 1, and that was right side end plate damage in towards turn 4. So Ian already at the race, Casilla already at the race. We can forget about them in tonight's calculations. Ari's leading the way, Dino in second, Ron there in third. Ari's continuing on, Ron continuing on as well, and the hard runners, clearly, it seems like they're going to go either for fresh mediums or towards the end of the race, maybe for a set of soft compound tyre, which only lasts around 6 or 7 laps, so probably not the best call of strategy to go for if that is the case. Action further down the field though, Nuth chasing down Mitchie in towards turn number 1, the AlphaTauri and the Red Bull. Here comes the Red Bull on the back. Thought he was going to go for the move there down the inside line. Cheeky so-and-so, doesn't get the job done. Bit of snap of oversteer, actually slight correction coming out of turn number 3, and that puts him now 5 tenths behind. So Nuth, even with the warmer tyres, cannot try and find a way through. Mitchie, who has, I think, I'll back up on your point what you were saying earlier on, I think he does genuinely have good pace around here.
I think he's a little bit nervous on the brakes as well, whatever might be there. definitely didn't want to send it up the side. So it's an for Newt, he's normally quite good, and Rex normally quite a good overtaker, but maybe he's just biding time and he's just waiting for the perfect opportunity. And in terms of the top four strategy, surely they're waiting for a safety car or something here, because going to the softs is not really a viable option, and they'd want to get on the mediums fairly soon because they can definitely go to the end from here.
Yeah, definitely. So Yuspan on the back of Axie once again, down into the left-hander of turn 11. He's not quite close enough though, 3.5 tenths per second indeed away from him. As Aries is into the pit lane. Dino, I think, is going to follow him in. Yep, Dino's into the pit lane. Get the car slowed down just about over 50 mile an hour there. Or underneath 50 mile an hour. If he was over, of course, he would have picked him a 3-second penalty, 5-second penalty for speeding in through the pit lane. Aries goes for set of mediums, Dino for set of mediums. Ron and Sapala split their strategies there, continuing on that set of hard compound tyres. Now, where is Aries going to pop out in all of this? I think he could be side by side, maybe with Devon coming out the pit lane here. There is Devon coming in towards turn number 1 now on the right-hand side of your screen. And look at where Aries has came out. Overcut around here, almost as potent as the undercut. And Aries has came out right in the middle of that battle. Dino, in the meantime, right in the middle of the Axie, Justbrand, Ferens. That sort of battle. Stefano just ahead of that as well. And Dino, I think, rather fortunate, he has got a technical teammate ahead of him in an OP man.
He does, and you got to be careful with your esports teammates, because they're the ones who you will be competing in competitions with, etc., etc. And yeah, he's got to be careful if he wants to make an overtake on Stefano. But at the end of the day, PSGL is not a team's championship, and everyone is driving to make a name for themselves in the esports world, especially in the higher tiers. And they want to get to F1, and they want to get onto the PC, and then go through the ranks there, and then maybe, just maybe, make the esports scene. Not a lot do, but those who do usually are quite successful. Steph has managed to get himself back within the DRS of Namsco. However, his DRS is not feeling the better of it, although Namsco also equally as bad with his DRS.
Yeah, equally as bad indeed. 3% of ERS. Schumacher's on 11, so he's got a bit more. And Steph, yeah, about 2% more actually than Namsco at this stage. But they're all cancelling each other out, really. Big thank you, by the way, to Jensen for trying to get me into the PSF1 lobby. I saw that invite come through on my screen. Apologies if you did see that on your screen as well, viewers. Jensen clearly wanted me, I think, to commentate for PSF1 and take Jess and Aiden Carter's role, which is not going to be the case, for them two are honed in for tonight's action in PSF1. You can catch, of course, the action in around 8 minutes' time. The stream should, I think, be live now, but 8 minutes' time until qualifying begins for PSF1. Of course, Asacom took the first win of the season. He's been in very, very good form in other leagues as well. Can he continue that up, or will somebody else try and defeat him? You can tune in for that in around 7 minutes' time. Ron out on top, Sapala second, Schumacher in third. You can ignore the front seat because they're still yet to come in the pit lane. Volakonganas came in for another set of medium compounder tyres, and he is right down at the back of the field at this stage. And everyone really cancelling each other out. It's a typical Bahrain race in real life, I think. Nothing has really happened.
Yeah, it is a typical Bahrain race in real life. We hyped it up as a great track for league racing. It's not really providing that at this moment in time. There's DRS trains all over the field, but that's about it, really. It's like watching the... I was going to make a train pun, but I absolutely will not, because that'd be boring. Schumacher, though, very comfortable lead here, 1.6 seconds. Fun fact about the name Schumacher, the only corner on the circuit is with a name is turn number 1. It's simply called Michael Schumacher after his accident in 2013, so it would be fitting for Schumacher to win here this evening.
You learn something new every day. I didn't even know that, and I'm lead commentator for PSF2 tonight. As here comes Dino on the back of Stefano, in towards turn number 1. Nuth was closing in on the back of Mitchie, but not close enough. Dino to the inside line of turn number 1, gets through on his esports teammate. Dino through, he's into 11th, of course, not teammates here. Stefano didn't really fight that, to be honest, but he still tried to make a little bit of contact with him down the straight, which I respect, to be honest. This is individual racing rather than team racing. And Dino there into 11, Stefano there in 12. Of course, when Ron and Sapala come in the pit lane, they are potentially going to be 9th and 10th positions. So Dino now going to be on the back of Ferens for 8th, or a net 8th position. And Steph on the back of Namskull still not getting quite close enough. I'm immediately drawn, as Rock has just picked up the second 3-second penalty of tonight. I'm immediately drawn to Nuth and Mitchie once again. 5th and 6th position, or which will be 4th and 5th position when the top two come in the pit lane. Nuth, they're in 7th at the minute, has got a lap a lap older tyre than Mitchie. Mitchie's just beginning to gap him out now, so I wonder if Nuth has gone too hard too early on these set of mediums and he's now paying the price.
Yeah, I've been looking you for about half a lap, and Mitchie's just driving better. Mitchie, of course, the cars are helping. You're absolutely spot on with that. Mitchie is a bit of an underrated performer tonight. He's driving very well there. And Ron now finally ventures into the pits. Be interesting to see where Ron comes out, and Stapala as well. So Schumacher does take the lead of the race once again.
Yeah,
Proper
definitely.
lead of the race this time.
Yeah, proper lead of the race indeed. I thought you were done, but then your mic cut back in there. It's just lagging.
No, that was just my brain being slow, not my mic this time. That was just me.
It's totally fine, it's totally fine. Nuth there on the back of Mitchie, still around about 10% off. I've just been informed, by the way, for another league that I commentated on Friday, the other big league on the PS platform, that there's no race tonight. There's no race on Friday because of the England game. Fantastic stuff. Schumacher leads the way, Namsco in second, Stefan third, and Schumacher already, he might be a reserve here in PSF2. You may as well call him a full-time driver. He's now gapped Namsco to 1.5 seconds, and this has been, even though he's had Namsco and Steph on the back of him for the first half of the race, this has been quite dominant, I think, from Schumacher at this stage. He's done a fantastic job. Cometh the man, cometh the hour. You need a reserve. This man is your hour, as Schumacher still leads the way. Namsco in second, Stefan third, gapping Namsco to 1.3 seconds. They're low on EOS and behind. Schumacher has controlled this race really, really class-like, and it's honestly very good to watch.
He's controlled it, he's dominated, exactly right with the reserve driver thing. I think he will be a main driver sooner rather than later, but Schumacher, he is, look, he's living up to the name, isn't he? Probably more than Mick has in Formula 1. Schumacher's dominated this one, and Steph as well. I thought he would be a bit closer to Namsco as well, but I think these guys are all just struggling with ERS. They're all pushing each other to the absolute limit, which is great to see, but I cannot see Schumacher losing this one unless he does make a very rare mistake.
Yeah, what I can see maybe is actually on the back of Stefano in towards turn number one. No ERS needed. Oh, and beautiful on the brakes. Axie gets the job done. He nearly cut Stefano off at the pass there on the left-hand side. That was awesome on the brakes from Axie. And now Justman's going to try and follow through as well. This is going to be a 2-for-1 offer that you're not going to refuse. Justman to the inside line on Stefano, and Stefano has lost 2 positions for the price of 1. However, Justman goes deep out of turn number 4, and Stefano back up the inside line, not getting the move done. Justman still hangs on in 11th. Axie now through, and he's into 10th position. And as you say, Warren Sakala also came in the pit lane a lap ago as well. They're down in 14th and 15th. So that is for the final point scoring position. Axie still ahead of Justman, and Stefano seemingly gone too hard too early on that set of medium compound tyres. But watch that back later on. That was beautiful on the brakes. Beautiful commitment from Axie. Maybe one of the cleanest overtakes I've seen this race.
Maybe. I'm just watching it on the stream now to my left-hand side. Beautiful move. Axe actually made a little bit of a mistake through turn 10. It's cost him nothing, really. Justbrand hasn't capitalised on it, but great move from Axe. He's got to hold it now. He's got to defend his way for the final few laps of the Grand Prix. As there's a bit of a gap now between himself and Dino, as Dino looking to attack Ferrance, Mr. Uncut himself.
Yeah, Mr. Undercut himself, but Dino, yeah, on the back, he's looking very quick indeed. Of course, has got 4 lap younger tyres than Ferrance, 2 lap younger tyres than Devon, so he'll be hoping to try and get this job done. Even without the use of ERS down the straight, the Aston Martin now coming at the inside line, potentially on Ferrance. It's going to be a late dive if he wants to move. But he's not going to get the move in Ferrance. In fact, actually nearly clashes into the back of Devon and on the brakes towards turn number 1. Very close, a little bit of contact there. And Dino again, very good. Gets caught in the curb out of turn number 3. That just compromises his run slightly. And still, Ferrance in 8th, Dino there in 9th. And you can continue on as you were. Justman still Axie fighting up like 10th, 11th. They've honestly been super glued together, I think, this race, Axie and Justman. They seem to be in every single battle, every single time we ride a ball with them. They're still in 10th and 11th, very consistent in terms of pace, very close in terms of the pace as well. And there, still, Dino hassling the back of Ferrance in front. And if he hassles them too much, and Ferrance makes a mistake, Dino in turn could then make a mistake as the yellow flag, and that is Fetty, I think, that has spun the 3-second penalty for off-track limit. So Fetty has spun coming out of turn number 4, picks up another 3-second penalty. How is that fair? How is that fair? He spun, and he's just picked up 2 3-second penalties. Don't get that at all.
Trying to understand this game is more difficult than quantum physics. And you were saying about 2 drivers attached together, Mitchie and Newt as well, just
Yeah.
They've been within a second of each other
Look at
possibly
Aries, though.
since 2019 at this point, and Aries has now joined them as well. So Aries on the fresher tyres might get the both of them here. This would actually be interesting. Little interesting battle developing for 4th position.
Yeah, 4th position. I don't think Aries, though, has got enough ERS to try and get this job done. In the meantime, Dino on the back of Ferran's trying to use up his ERS desperately to try and get the move done. He has got the second straight line speed. Justbrand is doing Axie in the background. They weave down in towards turn 1 just ahead. And Ferran still on the back of Devon. Devon there in 7th, Ferran in 8th, Dino there in 9th. Very good battle down the mid-pack. We've got another battle developing. More importantly, potentially for the 2nd and 3rd positions. Namsko and Steph, 0.5 of a second separating. They've been around this gap throughout the race, but I think Steph is now beginning to apply a bit of pressure to Namsko. He has seen that Namsko maybe is making just mistakes here, left, right and centre, as Dino's still on the back of Ferran. So I'm going to watch that battle now with intent, as Feddy is fed in the breakdown. He's going to obviously retire out of the race, and Feddy becomes the 3rd retirement of tonight, so 2 Shazoo boys out. Still 2 Shazoo boys going in Aries and in Ron as well. Schumacher leads the way, Namsko in 2nd, Steph in 3rd, and I was saying Steph was trying to apply a bit of pressure. He's now been gapped to 0.7 of a second, so it's a bit of a stalemate, honestly, between them both.
Yeah, it was just stalemate all across the grid in some of these battles. There's drivers who are just really quick down the straights and then not so quick in the middle sector, and vice versa. The guys in the relation with Namsko and Steph, because that gap was just for the last 10 laps or so, hasn't it? It doesn't seem like we get a Grand Slam finish here in Bahrain that we have seen some years in league racing. But really, the real battle in this one is this battle between Ferran, Stev and Dino, and then Justbrand and Axa as well, just linking onto the back of it. This will be an interesting one to the end of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, well, indeed. Stefano is the one that has dropped off the back of this train. It's now only 5 cars really within it, and even Justbrand and Axie are still yet to really get on the back of these guys. They are within DRS range, but they are very much struggling. They're in 8th and 9th position, in 10th and 11th position, and in fact struggling too much. I thought Axie was going to try and get the job done. In towards turn number 4, doesn't get quite the job done, coming through that corner. Schumacher still leading the way in little Namsko in 2nd, Steph there in 3rd, trying to bring you, of course, more action out on track. Linus, by the way, in the comment section saying, Nuth, Nuth, Nuth. Well, there is Nuth. He's there in 5th position. He's on a lap all the tyres compared to Mitchie. Basically going to be about 5% more tyre wear towards the end of the race on average, really. It can depend, of course, on the driver's individuality in terms of their tyre wear. But normally, on average, it's around 4 or 5% difference. So that means I think Mitchie has probably got Nuth's number at this stage. And Aries in behind, he has committed himself quite hard on those mediums. Maybe Nuth is going to be the middleman, as Aries actually makes a mistake. Speaking of that, could be through turn number 12 and creates his own track limits coming through there.
Yeah, Aries has been pushing. And honestly, if I was Aries, I'd do a little bit of an evaluation here and see how much the extra points are worth, because he's so close to running off the circuit and into a wall at a few occasions. I've been watching him, but he's a good driver. I think he'll keep it on the asphalt, but just needs to be a little bit careful getting into the very late stages of this Grand Prix, because you want to bring home points this early in the season. As Dino, is he going to finally go for the move on Ferran's here?
Has to commit this down the inside line. The Aston Martin send it from a mile back. On this contact. There's contact between them both, and they get caught up on each other. Axie and Justbrand gain 2 positions for the price of 1, and Ferran spun. Dino goes ahead as if he's done nothing wrong. I think, to be fair, he did do something wrong there. Ferran arguably could have left him more room. It might be a racing incident. Of course, that will definitely get reported, I'm sure, into the steward's room. But Dino there in 10th, Ferran's there in 11th. Dino, to be honest, he was enough to try, enough alongside to try and get the move done in towards turn 1. Ferran's just cut him off, I think, through turn number 1. Contact was made. But then again, Dino's responsibility is to not make contact with the driver in front, and that's exactly what he's done.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that one. Weird one. Kind of reminiscent of Sebastian Vettel and Esteban Ocon back in 2021, whatever that was clearly Sebastian Vettel's fault. Not too sure about this one. Dino, though, he's actually got the position of Ferran's out of it, so not too bad for Dino, I suppose. However, he may have damage because there was that AlphaTauri stuck to the front wing for a couple of seconds there through turn number 1. But that is the only real bit of contact we've had in this Grand Prix. Everything else has been super, super clean.
Yeah, really, really clean indeed. Dino there in 10th. He could argue as well, or he makes a mistake coming out of turn 13, he could argue as well that Ferran was on 4 lap all the tyres than him, and he was always going to get the job done. So I can see that argument certainly from Dino, but both of them have a responsibility of being clean to each other out on track. as Ference is still continuing on, by the way, so he hasn't got any damage. Dino hasn't got any damage as well. Now Ference is under pressure from Stefano. If he had one OP man on the back of him, now he's got another. Done. And Axie to the inside line, tries to get the job done. He's still on the inside line. Yusman forced off track. He might get that one removed because that was off track there from Axie, who pushed him out wide. Axie threw his into 8. Yusman there in 9th. For me, personally, he forced him off track there, and that 3-second penalty might get removed as Stefano was through on Ference, who was spun.
Yeah, Ference is spun there. That's unfortunate for Ference. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Justbrand's going to get that one moved. However, it's really hard racing between Axie and Justbrand all Grand Prix, and they've both provided some action here in Bahrain. However, James, gap up the front, under a second now. Very interesting.
It's under a second because Schumacher is using up all of his ERS. Namsko and Steph, certainly with Steph's perspective, he's afforded enough to try and lift and coast through the corners. That gains you extra ERS, and that is what Steph has done. He's got 24% compared to Namsko on 3, Schumacher on 2% out the final corner. Steph is looking quite good here. He is not using up any ERS down the straight, just relying on his pure straight line speed. And straight line speed he does have, because he is catching Namsko, even though Namsko was using up his ERS down in toward turn 1. Steph was catching there slightly on the back of Namsko, so this, if they're not careful, Namsko is going to apply a lot of pressure to Schumacher. They've got to watch him behind though, both of them, because Steph, with more ERS, is playing the waiting game, I think. But if I was him, I'd use up a little bit of ERS here and there, just to try and latch onto the back, because I think 0.7 of a second, he doesn't want to be that far back going on to the final lap of the race as Axie and Justbrand once again fighting, and Axie just about holds on the position for 8th.
Axie is defending like a lion here, as Fernando Alonso in an Alpine said. So his own words are being used against his own team. Axie is doing a great job. Steph, I don't... He's going to be close enough here. However, Namsko is pushing. He wants this win. If he could go for it on the last lap, that would be something, because Schumacher's controlled this one from start to finish.
He has. He's dominated this race throughout, but maybe that pressure is now beginning to build. Maybe his tyres are certainly going towards the end of the race here. There was a bit of lag there, actually. I think from Schumacher, still leads the way through the final couple of corners on the penultimate lap of the race, as Steph has gone miles out wide, coming through turn 13 in the background. So Schumacher leads the way. Namsko there in 2nd, Steph there in 3rd, now going on towards the final lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix, and is Namsko going to be close up potentially on the back of Schumacher down in towards turn 1? Let's wait and see. Schumacher's already taken the defensive line. Namsko is going to come from an absolute mile back here to try and get this job done. The Mercedes closing in, might have to think about the outside, dives to the inside, and Schumacher comes across and makes contact. Namsko in the meantime makes a mistake through turn number 1, and Steph all of a sudden is right on the back of these two. Who thought Bahrain was not going to be very controversial? As then Namsko to the inside line, very aggressive in his defence. Steph tries to go all the way around the outside. He's going to have to think about this carefully, and he doesn't get the job done. But Schumacher leads, Namsko in 2nd, Steph there in 3rd. Takes me back to Montana defending in the background in a league race I commentated about 5 years ago around here, and he did exactly the same thing. Dived down the inside line. It was a battle between him and another driver, and Schumacher held on to that. Arguably, I don't think Namsko was going to get the job done there. That might go to the stewards, though, in aggressive defending. But for now, Schumacher leads the way, and he's pulling away out in front by 0.6 of a second. Steph is not close enough, though, to try and even latch onto the back of Namsko. So I think this one is done for the top 3. There's nothing really happening further down the field either. Avi's not getting close to Michi, who was actually overtaken Nuth in the background. I'm not sure where that happened, but Avi's through and he's into 5th, and he's on the back of Michi in the background. But Schumacher has controlled this race from the off. He has absolutely dominated this race. And the Aston Martin, with a very, you could call it a controversial move. It was a defensive move, and it's a defensive move in the end that's going to win in the race. Schumacher ran the final quarter on the run to the line, wins here in Bahrain from Namsko in 2nd, Steph in 3rd, and barely a second covering the top 3 in the end. A great race from everyone. Michi there in 4th. Aries, if that start-finish line was about 200 metres longer, he would have got Michi down in towards turn number 1 and would have got the job done for 4th. In the end, he has to settle for 5th. Nuta in 6th, Devon, Axie, Dino and Justbrand are the provisional top 10 for now. But Schumacher takes the win, Namsko in 2nd, Steph in 3rd. That was a bit over-aggressive though, in towards turn number 1 on the final lap.
That Namsko move, for those who were watching earlier and heard me mention an old race with Namsko, it was the exact same thing that he did. It was a huge lunge to the inside, pulled off back then, didn't pull off this time. Not too sure if there'll be any penalties from it. It was kind of aggressive from both drivers, and there was no real damage given. Everyone finished in the same spots. Steph will be a bit hard done by, I think, because he was looking to go down the inside of Namsko and towards turn 4. Namsko defended, but still, it was a controversial end to the Bahrain Grand Prix. A great end to the Bahrain Grand Prix, but Schumacher takes the 16 points here in Sakir.
He does indeed. Volakongan, I think, has just stolen the fastest lap of the race at the end of the race there as well. And Schumacher, the Aston Martin, out on top in what was a very, very good race. Dino, in the end, his teammate, somehow gets driver of the day, awarded by the in-game fans, even after his contact with Ferrand. The game thinks that probably in most positions gain. That is what the game is balancing off there. We'll wait, though, for the podiums now to come up and to the top step of the podium when it eventually comes up on my screen. Hopefully it does. There we go. Here he comes to the top step of the podium. Watch what podium celebration are we going to get this time. Schumacher to the top step of the podium, and that's probably one of the most nonchalant podium celebrations I've certainly seen here in my 3 seasons now commentating on PSGL. But a great, great season to be had from Schumacher. Great race to be had, certainly from Schumacher. And he takes the win after really dominating the final part of that race, as well as the first half of the race. In all, I think overall a driver of the day performance.
Yeah, I think so. I think there was definitely a driver of the day performance from Schumacher. And there's a Michael Schumacher celebration that you get for free with the game. I'm very disappointed he hasn't picked that one. That would have been better. As Schumacher wins, I'll hand it back to you for the race results.
Yeah, Schumacher does indeed take the win from Nansko there in second, Steph there in third, Mitchie there in fourth, Ari's there in fifth, running the Ukrainian flag, which of course is always the big cause. Nuke there in sixth, Devon there in seventh, Axie in eighth, Dino from 17th on the grid to 9th, that's why he got driver of the day by the in-game fans. Yusran there in 10th, rounding off the provisional point in the end. Stefano there in 11th, Ron there in 12th. It was a bit of an underdog actually in that race from 16th on the grid. Aroka, Ferrin, Sapolo top 15, Noah Volakongan, 17 drivers who finished, and then it was Fetty. Noah, hang on. Who was it? I'm going to... I need the standings. I didn't catch the end. It was Fetty, Ian, and Facilo, the 3 DNFs out on track.
Well done, James. The dementia's already hitting. But yeah, it was an interesting race around Bahrain. It wasn't one of the usual kind of controversial ones. It was very DRS training, as is a lot of races, unfortunately, on F1 2022. But that shakes up the championship a little bit, because Steph did not win tonight, and Schumacher picks up a full 16 points. The reserve driver, who was 25th in the driver standings, will now bump up easily to the top 5, I'd imagine. But this leads us on nicely to next week, doesn't it, James? We're in for a good championship. We head to Zandvoort next week. The Dutch drivers will be looking for a good home result.
Yep, indeed. The Dutch drivers, of course, will be hoping for a very good home result. Netherlands, of course, for round number 3 of the championship on a very special day for me. Not going to bring it up because it's going to come next week. We're in the Netherlands, though, for round number 3 of the championship. I couldn't think of anything better, to be honest. Canada for round 4, then Monaco, the jewel in the crown for round number 5 of the championship. And then we have a little bit of a break week, actually, I think, for Silverstone, if I'm not mistaken, looking at those... looking at those... That's on a different day? 19th? Oh, no, the PC calendar's a little bit different, that's why. Silverstone, round 6, and then we've got the break week for Christmas. Portugal, Belgium, Australia, United States, and then Abu Dhabi for the season finale right down at the back of the ending of this calendar for season 32. But Netherlands, of course, next week, Evan. What can the drivers expect? They can certainly expect, certainly from me, Schijflak and Tarzan Corner and the likes, which I now need to do my homework on for next week.
I believe Ari Lundijk is one as well. I remember you mentioned that a lot last season. That's a fun one for the James Head book of vocabulary. But what the drivers can expect, and not the people watching, is a completely different race to this one. I think it's going to be different. Overtakes are possible in these new spec cars around Zandvoort. They were very difficult in the 2021 model. I think it'll be a good race. I think it'll be a great race around Zandvoort. Of course, it always throws up a bit of a surprise. We might see an unsuspecting pole sitter, an unsuspecting winner, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I am looking forward to it indeed as well. I'm going to cut you back, however, to me, because I am the star of the show here, there's the only man who was showing his face on camera tonight because of Evan's illness, sadly. PSF1, by the way, is also live tonight. Asacom currently out on top, Tom there in second, Rowan in third. I've got the stream up currently, so that's why I'm looking down. That is currently with about 8 minutes to go in qualifying. So if you do want to go and watch that, you can. If, however, you want to watch more PSGL action, of course, I should have really preempted this because I forgot about the schedule, didn't I? The schedule for racing, of course, that is coming up next week is as follows. So Wednesday night, PCF2, the main PC tier that we've got, of course, no assist. That is at 8 PM UK time on Wednesday, the only stream, of course, on Wednesday. Thursday, we've got PCF4, F6, F8, and F10 at 7 PM UK time, along with PSF13 and 14. Some of these tiers, by the way, are not streamed, so the ones that are streamed you'll probably see on the channel. PCF3, F5, F7 Monday, of course. PSF2, F4, F6, and F8. And also F1, F3, F5, and F7 there at 7 PM and 8 PM UK time, respectively, coming into next week, of course, in Zandvoort, which should be a very good race indeed. Hopefully, we will get our pronunciations absolutely pitch perfect for next week. A big thank you, though, to Mr. Evan Dalton for joining me in the commentary box. As always, it is much appreciated. Even though he's feeling unwell, he's got through that stream at his usual verve and zest, which is very good to see. And a big thank you to everyone that tuned in at home as well. If you did like that stream, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. We haven't mentioned, by the way, our beautiful sponsors, our title sponsors of GT Omega, just in the background, pointing at the chair, and also, of course, on this camera screen. And you can check out everything to do with PSGL in the description as well. And you can use the PSGL you can use PSGL at checkout for 5% off on all GT Omega products, with Black Friday deals certainly coming up. That is going to be very, very good, handy, especially if you do want a new wheel or a new chair, Pro Series chair like we've got, certainly in the commentary box. But a big thank you to everyone that tuned in. As I say, if you did like that, like, comment, subscribe, tick the notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. We'll be back, of course, next week for a very special day for me, because it is Zandvoort, of course, for round 3 of the championship. And we are going to leave you, of course, with our sponsors of GT Omega, and indeed with our ending trailer. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega, proudly supporting PSGL.